Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Welcome, everyone, to The Everett Lee Show. I'm The Everett Lee. I want to give a shout-out to everyone who follows me on social media and, of course, Podcast City Network, the official host of The Everett Lee Show. On the program today, you can catch my guest every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on FGW Shockwave, which you can subscribe to on Future Great Wrestling's YouTube channel. I want to welcome to the program tonight Justin Dream. How you doing there, Justin?
Doing great, Everett. How you doing, my man?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I've got my technical issues finished with my camera. I was having problems with that there.
Oh, it wouldn't be live if it wasn't for technical issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I had Mitch Magnus on last week, right when we went live, all of a sudden I was talking and I look over and I hear the sound, and then all of a sudden I look over and the camera went off, and we did the whole rest of the show. I mean, he can hear me, but he couldn't see me, he couldn't see me.
2020 technology, you gotta love it.
Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely gotta love 2020 technology there, man. And we have someone in the chat already. David C. Russell, always do. He's commenting on the technology there. We know how that usually goes when having a podcast. But, man, I'll tell you, I was looking at the information you gave me about where you worked at and your matches. Man, you have worked quite a bit in a lot of places. And where did that all start out for you? How did you get into wrestling, and what was your first exposure to that?
My first exposure to professional wrestling is actually a funny story. I remember being a child in 2003, and my first impression, I didn't even know it was wrestling. I thought it was a horror movie. All I know is that I look on the TV and I see this disfigured, giant monster of a man electrocuting someone's testicles. And I have no idea this is professional wrestling. That was my first impression of sports entertainment. And later on, following WrestleMania, my uncle had ordered WrestleMania 20 that year, and he had me watch the main event, being the infamous triple threat match. And being able to sit there and watch that is where it would click for me. This is something I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I can really see something getting into. And coming from Middletown, Ohio, I found a school actually right down the street from me from the Sorg Opera House. And mind you, I was only 13 years old when I started training.
Right.
So I was on my last year of middle school, my first training session. But Mount Killer, John Miller, he was their head trainer, and he essentially took it as when, like with most sports in school, like good grades, good play, sort of thing. So that's really when I first started training, was at the Sorg Opera House in 2009 under John Miller.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of the name before. I've swear I've heard his name before. Being there and training with him, how did that go? Was he old school, or what did he put you through?
He was very story based. He was one of those people who are like, if I'm going to be training you, I'm going to teach you right. I'm willing to teach you all that I know how to learn, all that I know, should I say, and then I can point you in direction of people that know more. And again, just being at such a young age, I was just ecstatic to be in a wrestling ring right now. and I still pay my dues like everyone else. I did security of the shows. I did the popcorn stands. I stamped the tickets. I handed out the flyers. I that's what I did when I got out of school those days. I was at the Sorg 5-6 days out of my week.
Wow. Just, we're doing everything. Just that's amazing. They're just doing everything that that you could there, and
famous needed.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I like that. Now, after going through training, what promotions did you go out and look for or work for?
Still being as young as I was, I couldn't really go out as much as I would have hoped to, just because with the Ohio Athletic Commission.
Yeah.
So typically, the only companies I was working for the first year of my career was companies that ran out of the Sorg Opera House. I worked with Ram Wrestling, that was Mountain's company, and there was another company running there, XVW, Extreme Valley Wrestling. And they also had HWA shows there on Wednesdays, but I never worked under them. I just did security for them on days.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a few shots in Richmond, Indiana for Rose City Championship Wrestling, RCCW. It's because I had the connections there that I met from Ram, and they didn't know my age. It was one of those things like, don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
And that's how I ran for the first 5 years of my career. Is I wasn't open about my age by any means. I'll be first one to admit that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing, man. You mentioned HWA. In the last couple weeks I've talked with a lot of talent from Future Great Wrestling, like Jackson Breeze and Mitch Magnus, and pretty much everyone I've talked to in the last couple weeks went through HWA. What was it like during that time when you were there? What was that like there?
The HWA that I experienced was not the same HWA that they went through. I think that's what it says. Like, it was rebranded in a way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the people. That's where I first met people like Sammy Callahan and John Moxley. That's where I met them, was at the Sorg Opera House. David J. Christ, Jake Oman. There was a lot of people from HWA that have definitely still gone on to so many great things in this business, but
Oh yeah,
HWA that I got experience was not the heyday as seen on TV HWA as everyone else had the privilege of experiencing, if that makes sense.
yeah. You mentioned Sammy Callahan, John Moxley. They've went on and they've had really good careers there, and getting to see them back then, that was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, like, in retrospective, it's amazing just seeing somebody that, like, I had been in the same rooms with and being in the same locker rooms with. I was professional waters, like, and seeing the things that they've gone through now, like, I'm sure they don't remember me, but the fact that I still have memories with them. And with how I mentioned the Chris brothers, I was actually got to be in a tag team with Dave Christ for about a year of my career.
Oh, nice. That's I like that. I was going through some of your footage there on YouTube there and looking up some of your matches, and I pulled up a couple matches here of yours and that I sat down and watched here, and what I seen in the ring, I loved what I seen in the ring. I loved how your style and how you move in the ring and stuff when you when you're in the ring with an opponent. Your style and moving in the ring and everything. Who do you take from who for that right there?
I try to be the ultimate hybrid. somebody that can adapt to any style that my opponent throws at me. Like, I can do some technician, I can do some super indie stuff, I can do some Japanese style, I can do some hard hitting strong style, I can do some Memphis style. I love just being able to read what the crowd wants, and I will adapt to whatever I can to make the very best of my matches.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that during your match there, when you wrestled Tony Evergreen, I noticed that how you were playing to the crowd there. At first, I didn't realize you had someone outside the ring there, because when you're walking around the ring, and I'm hearing this person just trash talking and stuff, and I'm like, man, this is great. I love this. And then you did some trash talking there yourself there during that match, and just a match right there. That you were the overweight champion, and you went up against Tony Evergreen there. You pretty much beat him down, and then you pretty much you held him down, and then when you got him outside the ring there, they had like these like gates, and you just slammed him up against it.
For those that want to look into this match, it is Justin Dream versus Tony Evergreen on YouTube, and it took place in like a horse barn type fairgrounds. So it had the metal brackets all around the arena. We changed outside of there, like in the horse stables. But, yeah, that and the one you were talking about on the outside, that was one of my good friends, the Fat Man Rob Patone. Yeah,
that I loved his trash talking there, man. Just playing up to the crowd. I thought that was really great.
Anybody that knows Rob will tell you he is a much better mouth than he is a competitor, and he'll tell you the same thing, honestly.
Well, I loved it, man, because the crowd was giving it back to him, and he was just giving it to him there, and you did yourself as well there in the match there. But man, that like in the hay there when Tony came off and did that like it was like a tornado DDT or bulldog.
Yeah, he ran up the gate and hit me with a cutter on the big pile of like sawdust and Lord knows what else.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I didn't expect that there. And then you got back in the ring there, and he came at you off the top rope, and you grabbed him, and you just threw him up in the air like it was nothing, and he came slamming down. And then you got a hold of him, and then you did like a sunset flip into like a pile driver for the finish. I was like, damn, man. I was like...
classic Canadian Destroyer.
Yes. I love that. I thought that was great there when you did that. But you retain the title, man. You retain the title.
I actually won it back in that match because at that time we were doing the 24/7 with it, and we filmed a vignette before then. I'll actually send it to you after this.
Okay.
I was coming out of a shower, and like I come out of a shower, my clothes are gone. I got a towel on me, of course, but I turn around the corner, bam, super kick. Tony's got a referee with him. 1, 2, 3. He beats me for the title right there, coming out of the shower, and that is how we set up the match that night.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
I will send it to you right after this. How's that sound?
Oh, I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see that. That's great. I'd definitely love to see that there. And speaking of that, have that 24/7 title. I watched another match of yours here, going up against Nero, and it looked like you were at a FGW there, and Nero. That was the first time I actually got to see Nero. Like, I've seen him wrestle there, and he was pretty good. I mean, pretty much the match. You had submission holds there, and you're holding each other down, and you're just like hurting and working the legs, and then he came off the you came off the turnbuckle during that one spot there with that like swinging like neck breaker midair. I was like, damn, man. I was like, you pulled towards the end of the match here. You started pulling it up there, and the crowd started getting into it there, and then you did that full Nelson sit down on him, and then you he goes and he comes at you with that boot to the face. You came after the boot to the face, and he countered with the cutter, and then he finished you. And I was like, okay, so you won. And then he stumbles, falls over. You get up, you're trying to get out, you stumble, and you fall on top of him, and the ref counts 1, 2, 3, and I forgot 24/7, and I was like, what the hell just happened here? And then the refs, and then you heard someone outside there, oh, don't give us that shit. And then you're like, the ref said 24/7 title. He won it back within.
Nero is one of my longest friends in business. He's one of the guys I met back with Soul God Pass. I still talk to this day. And me and him, we have had so many battles between one-on-one matches. We've had we were a tag team before. We've had tag team gold. He's one of those ride or die brothers in this business for me, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But with 24/7 title, I had so much creative freedom to do anything I wanted with that championship. Just as long as it was entertaining, as long as people were into it, that's all I cared about. I lost the title one time to a 10-pound Chihuahua.
No way. Is there footage of that, man?
It was lost when I lost my old Facebook account. That's what I hated. The whole thing was like I was jogging with a referee because, of course, I had my title. It's 24/7, and this woman who was the person I was seeing at the time comes up with Chihuahua, and I'm just like, oh, it's cute, and I lay down on my back to play with it. But I'm laying on my back, shoulders are down. Referee counts for 3 count. Sugar the Chihuahua wins the championship.
Damn, that's crazy. So that's pretty much the most craziest thing you've done with that title there.
That was probably under the 24/7 rule. That was probably the most out of the ballpark thing I've done with it.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. With the creative freedom, you can pretty much do whatever you want. It reminds me of back with the 24/7 hardcore title back in WWE, back when Crash Holly had it, and he was running around and just doing some of the craziest stuff, man. That stuff was just great, just watching that back in the day there.
I loved it, and when I was doing the 24/7 stuff, that was in 2016 and 17, so it's been a long time since anybody's been really exposed to that.
Yeah.
And that's why I just thought, like, why not just let's see if it works. That was my motive. Like, let's see if I can make this work.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And like as you've seen before in the videos, people understood that the title was 24/7, and it can change hands at any given time. And that's all that I really cared about.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta keep the fans entertaining. You have to do something because keep them interested there. I'm gonna go and check on YouTube there and check out some more. I mean, there's pretty much on there, but that finish for that match, man. I did not expect that there for the finish, and I forgot that it was 24/7 there. But good stuff, man. Definitely good stuff.
That's why I love that. Like, I wanted people to like really stay until I completely left the curtain.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what could happen throughout the course of that.
Yeah. wrestling up in, you pretty much wrestled up, in Ohio and Indiana, Michigan. Where up in Michigan did you wrestle at?
Michigan, I work for companies XICW, International Big Time Wrestling as well. I've worked for UCW in Bay City, Michigan.
Yeah.
And with XICW has a very long storied history. My first exposure to them was they were doing shows at Cobo Hall, and me and you, before we went on, we were talking about Jim Cornette, and I was actually. Do you remember the situation a few years ago between Jim Cornette and Santino Marella?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I was one of the security guards that helped break them up.
Really?
If you go back and watch the video, I can pinpoint the exact moment me and my buddy Dre Jacobs actually walks onto the scene. And that is just a moment I will never forget in my life, is Jim Cornette and Santino Marella just going off on each other.
I've seen it when that happened. I've seen a few of the videos that came out on social media, and
it was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm actually in that video. And what was great is, I'm trying to calm Jim down because I spent a good 2 hours before the show just talking to Jim and picking his brain, and he's going off on Santino. I'm not going to repeat what he was saying on your show by all means.
Oh, I got no filter, man. I got no filter, so I don't.
I remember putting my hand on his shoulder, and he just beams his head around real quick, and I'm just.
he's gonna come at you, man. I mean,
I was waiting for him to go off on me, but then deep down, that would just made my night even better. And he's the whole situation. He's going out. He's trying to get his stuff out. Nobody's letting him go back in. They're just saying you have to leave, and he's like, I'm trying.
I'm trying.
I'm trying. But he goes into the arena. He starts getting his stuff out, and he's being escorted by real cops now at this point to get him out of the building. And you can ask Dre Jacobs, Alex Weir, or Jack Price. They will confirm all of what I'm about to tell you. As police are escorting Jim Cornette out of the building, I slide in real quick and shake his hand on the way out. And it is great because he is still going off. He's like, this is me. He shakes my hand with a smile on his face and then immediately goes back to just going off on everybody.
Didn't miss a beat, did he?
He didn't. He's just it's no. I don't know.
Damn, man.
That is a moment I'll never forget. I look back. Alex Weir, he's processing what's going on. Dre, his mouth is on the floor. Jack Price cannot breathe because he's laughing so hard. Those moments is what I live for in this business. Those moments is what keeps me going year after year for more experiences like that.
That's great. That is great. I met him a few years ago here in Orlando. I live in Daytona. I drove over to Orlando. I met him at that wrestling event because I listened to a show and he mentioned that year it was the only time he's going to be in Florida. So I'm like, hell, I'm going to go. I was supposed to have a friend go with me. He couldn't go. So I went ahead and decided, hell, fuck it, I'm going to go. So I went and I got there and went down. It was at the Hilton they had down there in Orlando there. I forget what it was next to. I hardly go out to Orlando, but went there, and there was a lot of people there. I think I've seen Tyson Kidd, Chris Masters, Billy Gunn. That's where I met him there. Who else was there? I think Rosemary was there. Just a lot of names there. Scott Hall, Nash was there. Kevin Nash, and Eric Bischoff was. I got to talk to Eric Bischoff just briefly before they did it. Him and Nash and Hall did the big whatever autograph thing they had, and then I met Jim. I was wearing my Jimmy Hart shirt and went up there and talked to him, and we bullshitted there for a little bit, and he asking about Jimmy's place and when he had a place here in Daytona, and he told him, he's like, yeah, you go in and tell him I said hey, and pretty much went back over there when I saw Jimmy next, and I told him, and Jimmy was like, oh, okay, and told me some stories, and when I was there, Cornette told me some stories, and it was great. He was down to earth, though, and he did a Q&A, which was just great. That guy, man, you get a microphone in front of him, that guy is gunfire, man, at the mouth, because you don't know what you're going to get, because he's old school, man.
He gave me some of the most amazing advice anybody in this business has ever given me, and it's words that I always am going to remember what he told me.
What's that?
I asked him, Jim, in your honest opinion, what do you think it takes to make it in this business? He looks at me, he's like, well, to be honest with you, kid, I don't know what the fuck they're looking for anymore.
That's old school, man. That is that's old school. That's freaking old school there. Damn. Yeah, he gave me some advice too. I asked him a couple things, and he's a great guy. People just don't know how to take him. They just don't know how to take him.
Yeah.
They don't. Modern wrestling fans don't like him, and old school wrestling fans like him, or you love the guy, you hate the guy, and there's
no in between.
Yeah. There's no in between, and I enjoy what he talks about. I like the history and stuff. I was surprised to see him on the Dark Side of the Ring. Have you caught that? Any of the episodes, Dark Side of the Ring?
I've never missed an episode yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize how much episodes they had and how many seasons they had with just 2 seasons, but
they only have 2 more episodes left of this season, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
The Road Warrior and Owen Hart.
Oh, Owen Hart. Oh, man. Damn, I remember that. I remember that night, man, when Over the Edge. Damn. I was shocked, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way he died. And he did.
With me being such a late bloomer, I was only born in 95, so I wasn't exposed to wrestling, at least from what I could remember, until much later, as we talked about. Mm-hmm. So, I wasn't able to really appreciate all those golden years of professional wrestling. I wasn't watching for the Attitude Era. I missed the Monday Night Wars. I didn't catch in until the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Mm-hmm. Ruthless Aggression.
But now I'm looking back at all this and able to rewatch some just amazing stuff, and some people that were just so far ahead of their time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Ruthless Aggression era, that era right there was just different, because WCW, they folded, and pretty much with WCW folding, there was no competition, and you had all this talent that came over from WCW, and then you had a lot of talent they got rid of, and then a lot of them they kept. They had really good careers, but that's when you had Lesnar, Cena, Orton, Batista from the OVW there coming up, man. And Shelton Benjamin was part of that, and just great talent there.
And that's something else that was really cool for me. Like back in Cincinnati, Ohio, OVW would run out of the Lincoln Community Center, and I would go to both shows to watch as a fan, and I got to see so many people, again, just rise up from the top. I saw CM Punk when he was there. I saw Cody Rhodes when he was there. Crime Time, Jesse and Festus, Beth Phoenix. So many people coming out of that. I got to see them before they were the megastars that they went on to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mentioned the story about me seeing the prototype before he was John Cena in 2002 in Knoxville, Tennessee. I seen him, and my brother was laughing at the fact that he's like, this guy sucks. And I looked over at him and I said, he's out there busting his ass in the ring. I said, for all you know, in 3 years he can probably be the biggest star in his John Cena.
And he was you off by a year. He was biggest star in 2 years.
Yeah, I was off. Yeah, I was off about a year. Yeah, so I mean, it is amazing. I mean, getting, like you said earlier, you get to see Sami Callihan and Jon Moxley. He went on. He pretty much had a pretty damn good career in the indies, man. I remember pulling up David C. Russell from Deathmatch Wrestle podcast. He was like pulled up some stuff and was like, here, you gotta check this out and check out Jon Moxley's CZW. Did you see some of that stuff there he did?
Dre had shown me a lot of that stuff, and for the longest time, that's all that I knew Jon Moxley of. I didn't know him as the HWA worker. I didn't know everything that he was capable of doing. Like, that was my first impression of him, so I didn't really think a whole lot. Like, I was just thinking, like, oh, it's a deathmatch guy.
Mm-hmm.
But then actually, like being in the same room as him walking in, that definitely is something that changed my eyes. Because, like, I saw him take the saw blade, I believe it was, to the forehead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's... I hope he got a good payday out of that.
He probably did. Hardcore matches. What are you really big fan of getting into hardcore matches?
It depends. It really does. Like, I've done hardcore matches for several companies, IWA, JCW. It really just depends on scenarios, and I'm not a big fan of hardcore for the sake of hardcore. I'm a fan of hardcore that's like pressure's been boiling, so this is the only way to settle this blood feud. I'm not a big fan of just hardcore for the sake of hardcore.
Yeah. I'd have to say my favorite hardcore match would have to be Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk.
The one in Japan for the
the one in Japan. Yeah, that's my favorite hardcore match.
That's all you gotta say is the one in Japan. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, the one in Japan there. Because what is it? Mick Foley's book there, he's talking about when he was flying back over to the States and his arm was still burning and the flesh was still rotten inside all the way back, and people in the airplane thought there was is there barbecue? And yeah, his just rotten flesh, man, burning. that shit's crazy, man.
Listening to Foley tell those Terry Funk stories, like, in person, is just an amazing moment. Like, I went to see him do one of the stand-up specials in Dayton, Ohio, and he brought up a lot of the Terry Funk stories, him in Japan, about like after it was all over, Terry him get up like cactus, respect, cactus, respect.
Yeah, that picture back there, up at the top there, of Mankind. You, from your view, you can't see it, but the viewers there and the listeners, I got this picture of Mankind I brought down because it was sitting up at the top there, and I'm looking, and I was like, I'm gonna pull this thing down here so I can have it in the background. I met Mick Foley. His comedy tour came through Daytona Beach here, man. That not funny? I mean, just stuff he talked about, man, was great.
The stuff he talked about, some of the stuff that happened like during the show was amazing. He cut somebody off from drinking at the show I went to.
Oh, did he?
Like physically, like dude was just sitting front row, like physically bent down, took his drink from him, put it on stage, and he's just like, I think that's enough for you.
Was he heckling him?
He was being disruptive. Like, he was trying to be respectful. He was a massive fan of Mick Foley, but like it was just being very disruptive, and that's what even Sam Foley told him. Like, he's on the mic, he's just like, I understand you're a fan, but you're being a little bit too loud. And he like looks at his security guard, and he's just like, basically saying, cut him off.
I'm surprised he didn't put the manimal claw on him.
He did give out some socks, though.
Oh, did he?
I'm not gonna lie. I was one of those guys that like I'll give you $10 for a personalized sock. I honestly did.
No way, man.
I did though. It has like a little bit of blood coming down it, and I just have it in like a little Ziploc baggie hanging up.
He didn't even, when he came here to Daytona, he didn't even do that, man. He didn't even do that. He came on stage there, had a couple openings that were really good. Local comedian here, Mike Panzer, really, really funny, man. And his bit is he just rolled out of bed and he just like, that's his whole schmick there, and just really funny. He opened up for Mick, and Mick came out, told some stories and stuff, and afterwards met him, talked to him there just for a minute, and it was great, man. That was something I'll never forget.
There's so many great. They say never meet your heroes, but so many people that I have met, I am incredibly thankful if I have the opportunity to meet. Like, whether it be like meet and greets, or especially just having the honor of being in the same locker room as so many of them. Like, there's so many people that I've met in this business that I am just so blessed and thankful to have opportunities to have.
Yeah.
Just any interaction with them. Like, it's one of those things where, like, hey, I remember seeing you on TV, or I remember being at that show in US Bank Arena and you performing there, and now we're in the same locker room together. It's just an amazing feeling.
That's pretty cool that you got to meet some of them, and that's, I mean, you even got to you get to work with them, and that's cool. That is with wrestling now. You're not, I mean, like everybody else, you guys, wrestlers ain't working right now because of the quarantine and everything's happening. What have you been doing with your time? Have you been catching up on Netflix like everyone, or watching matches?
I've still been needing to catch Fat Tiger King. I've still been needing to do that. Like, I hear so many people talking about that, but I'm still an essential worker. Unfortunately, I'm still out there on the front line, like so many others.
Oh.
I'm really trying to think of ways to be better than I was coming back. Like, I actually just spent last weekend putting up my wrestling ring in my garage right now.
Oh, nice.
From the company, from my company that my family used to run. Serious Attitude Wrestling back in Middletown, Ohio. And we just spent last weekend. We just put the ring up in my garage right now. I've been trying to train right there as much as I can because a lot of times, like, I'm not being an essential worker right now. I'm not able to make a whole lot of trainings right now, especially like with gyms being closed. It's so hard for me to be able to work out.
Yeah.
And it was just killing me just sitting around, laying around, just thinking like I'm not going to get better just doing this. What can I do so I don't basically ruin my body?
Right.
And that's when I got a few guys together. I'm just like, hey, can you want to make some money? Like, we load up a U-Haul, brought it over, just set it up, and I've been in it every day.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. You're able to.
Neighbors don't like it, but
neighbors don't like it because you're hitting them. Is it the sound of you hitting the mat or?
It's like a tin garage, and the ring is literally wall to wall in there. Yeah. So any noise coming out of that is going throughout.
Wow, that's I like that. I like that, and it's good you're still working and being an essential worker, being on the front lines, man. Whew. I mean, I'm glad you're okay and you're still making some income. I mean, I know wrestling is that extra thing that helps you out there.
Yeah, ideally that's of course what I want to be what brings home the bacon every single week, every single month. That's right now it was helping me pay so much for bills, it just wasn't able to afford all the bills at the moment.
Yeah, it's something extra that helps. Yeah, that helps to pay the bills there. I mean, definitely. A few weeks ago, I had Shauna Reed on, and yeah, she's still an essential worker, and I know there's still a lot of.
She's fun line. I know that for a fact.
What's that?
She's more of a front line than I am right now. She's like directly helping with all that, so my heart goes out to her.
Yeah, it's things are here and there are starting to slowly, open up here and there. I mean, you live in Ohio. I mean,
yes,
yeah, because I was talking to Mitch Magnus last week, and he was talking about things are starting to slowly open up here, here and there, and here in Daytona, here in Florida, some things are starting to open back up though, but. Yeah, I was part of a company that's on the front lines, and I got furloughed with 300 other people, or 299 other people. But besides, I mean, I'm trying to stretch and do everything I can, and I've had a lot of time doing this here. I have putting content out, man, just a lot of content. I've been busy doing that and watching wrestling. FGW Shockwave. I've been watching that there
every Wednesday.
Yeah, it's great. I'm caught up. I'm caught up with the stories and been watching getting through the best of, and I've enjoyed that. I tuned in Wednesday. I don't know why I'm thinking it's Thursday. See, I'm forgetting what day it is now.
You're at that stage right now. I get
it. But yeah, I watched one Wednesday night there, and I loved it. I got to watch most of it until my daughter, she wanted to take the TV as always. So Ripper's still in the chat. He knows what I'm talking about there.
And I've really been enjoying all the best of episodes as well, because I didn't join FGW until quite recently, so I'm being able to watch so much of things that happened before I was there that I only heard stories of. I never had wasn't there to witness.
Right. Yeah, because you mentioned to me when we were messaging back and forth, you said that you were there at February, right? Almost at the time all this started. That's when you started. When you started there, wasn't it?
Yeah, my original debut was on Christmas night. They did a special show, and I was a part of a tag match with Joe Papani, I believe his name was, against a tag team called GK Fam, and that was I saw. Before then, I had been talking with higher ups at FGW about possibly coming in. They were looking for some more talent, like brand new faces.
Yeah.
But they were also on the hot heels headed towards the next Origin shows as well.
Right.
So I came in for the Christmas show, and then after that, I came in January and had a match with Eric Fallon. And I saw that as really like, this is basically my resume. Like, I saw that match as I'm going to either leave this match with a job, or I'm back to square one. Luckily, again, with everything happening with Origins, I wasn't going to be like thrown into the mix or anything, so I made my official full-time roster debut the Friday after Origins.
Okay. Yeah, because I seen you on there, and I'm like, who's this? And you came out there and then had the match there. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because I've watched so much stuff here. I'm trying to keep up with what I watch now. That's pretty bad, but yeah,
I'd rather you watch too much than none at all.
Yeah. Well, I got to get my wrestling fix, man, because WWE it's just with everything going on. The last time I watched WWE programming was WrestleMania, and that was pretty much it because I wanted to see what Edge was going to do because I was a big fan of Edge back in the Attitude Era, and I enjoyed that match he did with Orton. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't like it, or a lot of people are like, yeah, this was great. It was one of my favorite matches out of that 2-night week, one of them, and I watched it, and then afterwards I couldn't watch the empty arena thing. AEW, they've done it a little bit different, which is enjoyable, but WWE is just, I'm just not into the product anymore. So I was sitting there, I got on YouTube and I said, I need wrestling. I was like a crackhead. I'm like, I need some wrestling, man. You know, I'm like, I need my fix, man. I was like, something's bad gonna happen here. And so, I mean, not that extreme. I'm just exaggerating, but
you're good. And you ain't got somebody pulling up with a VHS tape like, what you willing to do for it?
Hey, I know. Yeah, I'm making some calls here. He's like, hey, you got it. I guess I want it.
I know a guy. They do empty arena shows.
Yeah, going back to the tape trading days, but yeah, I started going through and watching.
I'm guilty of not catching the weekly product. I'm one of those people that only watch pay-per-views. Just because I don't have cable, I have a network.
Yeah, they've taken away good stuff and added other stuff on there, but I like how they got the territory days on there because they got Mid-South Wrestling on there, and that's always good to go back and watch there. I like going back and watching the old territories day stuff. I definitely enjoy that.
I'm a big fan of like the Smoky Mountain days and the AWA, WCCW in Texas. Like, I'm a very big fan of the storytelling parts of matches, and I feel like those companies during those heydays was the main sources of that. They didn't need to do the big 450 splashes. They didn't need to do the 200 super kicks. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing that because by all means, different day and time.
Yeah.
It's like you like what you like, but like that was just my preference of styles.
Yeah. Got some response here in the chat here, Justin. Ripper Blackheart says a great addition to FGW is the Black Sheep. And Jackson Breeze, shout out to Ripper and Jackson. Jackson says, Shockwave continues. I guarantee there are surprises coming. And Ripper says, you have the network. You can see it all now. You kids don't know how good you got it. So, shout out to them.
That's like what we were talking about the VHS trading days.
Yeah.
I remember always buying the DVDs at Walmart like 2 months after they happened. Like I already knew what happened at that point, but I'm still going to buy it.
Yeah. I have not a big collection of wrestling DVDs. I have the Ultimate Warrior collection. My Name is Paul Heyman. I have that. I have the No Way Out pay-per-view where Eddie Guerrero beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship.
2004. Yep.
Yeah, I have that there. I have a couple of WrestleManias. I think WrestleMania 2021 and some other stuff. I have like a couple Stone Cold DVDs, a John Cena one that back in the day when he was starting to build, like when he was doing the Thugonomics. Yeah. A lot of people forget about that, but it's crazy how he's been bringing that back up here and there when he would come back to WWE. But just FGW just has my fix there.
Let's talk about the good stuff now.
Yes, the good stuff. Yeah, definitely. FGW on YouTube there. FGW Shockwave on Future Great Wrestling's YouTube channel. I mean, those viewing and listening, subscribe to that. And I want to mention
weekly
here,
content, brand new weekly content.
Yes. That's
new stuff.
That's what I love about it, man. Just you keep rolling stuff out with. That's what I love about the promotion.
Just because there's so much I could just sit here and describe you everything that you're going to see on there, but even I don't know what you're going to see because, like I said, I didn't come into the company until much later. So I'm experiencing all of this stuff along with the people. This is my first time seeing all this footage as well.
Yeah. I love the best of stuff because it's stuff you've never seen before, and I love that. That first volume of the best of stuff was just great, man. That was great. I was talking with Mitch Magnus about that Battle Royal and then having that title match against Space Invader. Dude, that was some good shit right there. I love that. How they got the footage and everything. And Jackson says, why did he say Ryan Michaels and the Top Guns are tools? Ha ha.
Did I say that?
Yeah. He says, Jackson Breeze says, ask Justin Dream, why did he say Ryan Michaels and the Top Guns are tools? Ha ha ha. He's ribbing you, man.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, did I say that? I was trying to think for a minute, did I film something when I said that? I'm trying to think, me and, as far as the Top Guns go, me and Mark Magnum, we actually go way back, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those people that I first met back at the Sword days as well. And Eric Fallen, he's somebody that has also just excelled in so many things that he's been able to do. I've seen him transform so many times. First time I got to work with him was back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing all the things he's doing now. Ryan Michaels, he's somebody that I do want to share a ring with one of these days. He's somebody I've never been in a ring with yet.
Yeah, Eric Fallen, from what I watch on Shockwave, him after leaving Darkness Worldwide after they imploded, he's taking it up to another level. And Ryan Michaels, I wasn't too familiar with him, but when he came in, I was just drawn like to him. As I said, because I wasn't familiar with him until I started watching stuff on FGW, and then talking with FGW talent over the last couple weeks. Then I started seeing matches with Ryan Michaels, and one of the matches I watched was at War 8 Armageddon with Mark Magnum versus Ryan Michaels. I'm like, damn, man, that match right there. If you want to see a match, those guys did fantastic. I thought I loved it. I loved what they did in the ring there. I enjoyed it.
That's something that really drew me to FGW, was seeing all the talent that I have not had the opportunity to work with yet. And I always see that as an opportunity for magic. Somebody I've never faced before. It could be something like maybe fans want to see me and this person. Somebody that I really do want to work with one of these days is William Wolf. I think the Wolf versus the Sheep, that just writes itself right there.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, damn, yeah. Black Sheep versus the Wolf. Oh, God.
That just writes itself right there.
Yeah.
Like, he's somebody I want to face down the line. There's just so much great talent there and so much up-and-coming talent. Mm-hmm. It's like, as somebody that's seen so many people come and go from this area, this is definitely a bunch of people that I really see really making something of themselves.
Jackson, Jackson's having some fun here in the chat here, Justin.
Oh my.
Ryan Michaels.
Am I on his bad side yet?
He says Ryan Michaels reminds me of a construction worker from the Village People. And then he says Magnum versus Dream sound good too. He agrees with you with that there. But William, William. What are your thoughts on that one, William Wolf?
It's been quite a few years since me and Magnum have faced one-on-one, so I definitely would love to see how much we both improved against each other.
Yeah, that would be definitely good. I'd like to see in the ring with Mark Magnum, man. That would be a good match right there. I mean, I've not seen it. I mean, I had him on a couple weeks ago, and just talking with him and just watching the matches he has. He has a YouTube channel, man, about almost all his matches on there. It's like that's his he gets his resume up there, man. That's like, damn, man.
No one's gonna call you. You got to make the phone ring, and he's doing exactly what it takes to make that phone ring. So good on him.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is. Being at FGW, I mean, with the time that you spent there already, just coming in at the time you did, what's the one thing that you love about FGW or like about FGW?
The vibes I get. Like, I've been involved with so many, I'm not going to name any names, but there's so much terrible companies in my area right now that I was to a point where I don't even want to associate myself. I stopped taking shows anywhere less than an hour away from me, just because that's just how much it affected me, like, mentally. Like, I don't want to be compared to all this. And then, like, being in FGW, like, being in that locker room, being in that environment, the crowd, everything, just, it feels, it's a breath of fresh air for me as a performer and somebody that's been in so many locker rooms around the area and just has had so much sour taste in my mouth. Just the breath of fresh air, the people, the fans. I don't want to say I'm comfortable, because they say you never want to get comfortable in a company, but it's the closest I can say to that.
Yeah, everyone I've talked with, they've said the same thing. The locker room and that I like hearing that. I definitely like hearing that. Locker room. That's good. That's definitely good. And the Black Sheep, heard you got merchandise, and I want to mention that in viewers viewing in the chat here, or in the chat, and in the description of this episode is a link to Justin Dream's pro wrestling tees there. They pick them up, though, but besides having pro wrestling tees, or speaking of pro wrestling tees, what do I have here? What do I have?
It is a brand new T-shirt that it's already been ordered and placed. There's been so much hatred and just bad vibes going on in the world right now, especially in professional wrestling right now. And I really wanted to show that I'm a supporter of everybody. No matter what you are, no matter who you are, I am here for you. So I came up with me and Crystal Pink Studios, my T-shirt designers. We came up with this very special Black Sheep Club logo, just specifically literally for everybody. It doesn't target just one person. It is LGBT friendly. It is, as it says itself, it is home for kings, queens, and everyone in between. And I feel like that's a message that definitely needs to be shown.
Right. I love it.
And this is a design I'm very proud of, because typically you only see people that's involved in that community with this type of merchandise. You never really see people that are just allies with this type of merchandise, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was something that's like, hey, I may not be with that community, but I still support and love everybody in it. I see everybody as equals, no matter what. We all bleed red, unless you're Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. For some reason, you bleed purple, but that's unrelated.
Yeah, there's too much hate out in the world, and I love that there, that design there and the message, man. I agree, man. I love it. And again, those viewing and listening, when you come to the page here,
those T-shirts will be directly through my messenger. Those, sadly, due to copyright issues, I'm not allowed to put that on ProWrestlingTees.com, but I will have them available on my person. So I'm willing to ship them out. You can find them at upcoming shows whenever they happen again, but they've already been ordered, but always been placed. I got so many of them coming. This is something that I can definitely see ordering more of, because I want to spread the message as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Sheep Club is literally for everyone.
That's amazing. I like it. And that's an awesome design there, and good message behind it. And yeah, hit Justin up, and
I'll be selling them for $15.
Nice. Amazing. And I got the link in the description here on this episode for his other shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees there, as mentioned. And I wanna thank you for coming on tonight, man. This has been fun. Just kick it back.
Thank you. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. I appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. And before we start closing out, where can people find more of Justin Dream, the Black Sheep ad, on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Justin_Dream. I am recently on TikTok at Black Sheep JD. You can check my my Facebook account, JD Ham, whoever that is. But yeah, that's me, since my old profile had recently been hacked and deleted. That also took away my Instagram account as well, sadly.
Damn. Well, I mean, you use social media what works for you, man. Then that's fine, man. That's awesome, amazing. And before we do sign up or sign out of here or get out of here, I want to mention that you can follow more of the Everett Lee Show over on podcasting.net, your top source of independent podcasting. Follow them over on Facebook, Podcasting Network, and send them a tweet over on Twitter at PodcastingNet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for video portions of podcast over on Podcasting Network on YouTube and on Twitch, Podcasting Network. You want more Everett Lee? Then follow me on Facebook. Hit the thumbs up. Get the notifications when I go live like I am right now on my page for podcast. And send me a tweet over on Twitter at @TheEverettLeeShow. Instagram, Everett Lee Show, and audio portions of this podcast, previous release podcast, head over to YouTube channel, Everett Lee Show, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Podbean. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to mention that Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, I will have professional wrestler one-man crew on the podcast live Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. In the upcoming weeks, I will be talking to Michael Neary and another guest that when it gets closer to talking with him, I will announce when that episode will drop out, because it's one you will not want to miss. But everyone, have a good night, and thank you for tuning in on the Everett Lee Show.